Hello, and welcome everyone to the Washington Entity Regulation Pilot Web Snack, Part 1. Thank you for the chance to speak with you. I'm Craig Schenk. I've been invited here for this mini webinar because I'm a volunteer in the Washington Supreme Court's Practice of Law Board, but my views are my own. We're going to talk about the Washington Supreme Court's Entity Regulation Pilot. We're also going to talk about practicing legal professionals, innovators in our communities, because you all really are at the heart of all this. Today's discussion is about why. Where did the Entity Regulation Pilot come from? I'm excited to have a few minutes of your time. First, though, an icebreaker. This is my show and tell piece. It's a Royal Model 10 double window typewriter. It is a beautiful machine. I got it from my father, who got it from my grandfather, who got it from my great-grandfather, and I don't know where great-granddad got it. Now, this Royal typed out farm news, crop prices, family correspondence over the decades, and many late-night legal memos from my dad. In the late 1980s, it sat right next to Dad's first computer as he taught himself Lotus 1-2-3 for his law practice, the Royal clacking out memos while the computer ran the calculations. And this was a lifelong inspiration for me, that as a profession, we must bring our continuing curiosity, our ongoing learning, and the strongest tools to bear if we're going to deliver the best outcomes for our communities. Now, there's a reason that I brought this. This machine joined our family at about the same time Washington adopted its current rules on the delivery of legal services. That's the 1930s. Depth of the Depression. Nearly a century ago. Now, the Royal still works, and I love it with all my heart for its feel, its music, its connection to history, especially my own. But I would never dream of using it in my practice or in any other legal setting. And this is the key point. As tools and systems and our wider world evolve, so should the way we practice and our methods, and so should the regulation of legal services. And our world is indeed changing. The world has transformed dramatically over the last century. Think about the evolution that we've all seen in our daily lives. Uber and Amazon, for example, edging out taxis and retail stores. The same is true for legal services. We're all seeing it. The revolution to innovate and expand is already happening, maybe whether we like it or not. And either way, we don't get to opt out of tectonic shifts going on around us. As the operating system for our economy and our society, if the legal professions ecosystem fails to adapt, the whole system stumbles. Most of us here are problem solvers. We're learners. We know there's room to make it better. We know there's room to make it more effective for our clients, for our communities, and even for ourselves. Now, all of this is happening against a backdrop of a widening gap in access to legal services in Washington and across the nation. People law is less and less available to the people. And let's underscore that. I don't know how many of you all have tried to hire lawyers for basic sort of fresh start moments for you or for your families over the last few years, but it's daunting. Imagine trying to navigate a path for criminal records expungement, renegotiating medical debt, handling housing issues, obtaining a domestic violence protective order. And now imagine how much more challenging that becomes if you have limited resources or if you live in an area of the state that's poorly served. Sounds hard, doesn't it? Well, your reaction is backed up by the numbers. The civil legal needs studies in Washington over the last 2 decades painted a stark picture of access to justice in our state. About 76% of low-income households experience at least one serious civil legal issue annually, and the vast majority receive no meaningful legal assistance. Nationally, the Legal Services Corporation reports that around 92% of low-income Americans' civil legal needs go unmet each year. And the World Justice Project recently ranked the United States 107th out of 142 countries in terms of affordable access to civil justice. We can't simply out-lawyer this problem. The needs are too great, the gap is too wide. Innovation and creativity will be essential. Now, the Washington Supreme Court has focused attention on this for more than a decade, evaluating different models to broaden legal services, including legal aid, pro bono, new pathways to licensure, and other innovation models. So there we are, 2 fundamental challenges that we face as a profession. First, technology may threaten our current entrenched way of working, but it may also provide us with opportunities if we navigate this transition well. And second, the gap in legal services is profound. We should be deeply concerned about developments over the last several decades that have moved necessary, fundamental legal services beyond the reach of the people who need them. Now, recognizing this, the Washington State Bar Association's Board of Governors committed to a strategic agenda over the last couple of years that recognizes two parallel challenges. The first is helping members adapt to rapidly evolving technologies. But the second is the regulatory side of ensuring that consumers are protected as new technologies shape how legal services are delivered, making sure these services are available. And that brings us to the Entity Regulation Pilot Order issued by the Washington Supreme Court on December 5th, 2024. Building on the court's recognition of the profound implications of these changes going on around us, and to better understand the opportunities and threats presented by these emerging innovations in terms of safety, in terms of quality, in terms of access to legal help for Washingtonians, the Washington Supreme Court, WSBA, and the Practice of Law Board will operate a pilot test for entity regulation. Now, what that means is, for the first time, entities, including nonprofits, law firms, multidisciplinary groups, they can all apply to deliver legal services. Authorizations will be issued by the court under time-limited exemptions from specific existing rules, including attributes of UPL that would prevent them from practicing. So, what's the implication of that? Entities with innovative business models, including those operated by individuals not necessarily licensed to practice law, can apply to offer legal services based on carefully evaluated, monitored exemptions from specific rules. Those rules would ordinarily govern our practice of law. Now, the room for creativity is not unlimited, of course. The pilot creates exemptions from rules, but not from consumer protection. Each applicant has to follow specific requirements that the court articulated, including proposing a clear hypothesis about how their model will expand access and how to test that hypothesis. They have to designate a compliance officer. They have to submit to rigorous oversight and data reporting. The authorizations will be time-bound. They'll be closely monitored. Participants will deliver data to evaluate whether the program is achieving its objectives set by the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court has the final say for each application. This is a 10-year, evidence-driven experiment to learn what works and what doesn't. It's a unique platform for new ideas. I think the pilot represents a significant step forward in our journey to explore innovative approaches to licensing and to regulating legal services, allowing entities, not just individual attorneys, to deliver certain legal services. I encourage you to learn more, find your opportunity, and apply. Much more is available on the website that you reach this web snack on, and much more is coming. Sign up at the website to get on the email list. You'll find an email address there to get your specific questions answered as needed. And then links are in the show notes on the website that hosts these web snacks. I really recommend in particular that you get on that updating email list. So that's the end of the Washington Entity Regulation Pilot Web Snack Part 1. I encourage you, learn more, sign up, and above all, help us build the future. Have a look at Part 2 if you'd like to learn more about how the pilot will operate. Thank you so much for the chance to speak with you.